Hello, sports fans from around the world, and welcome back to the NRL SuperCoach BDE Podcast. We are the best draft experts here to jump into not one, not two, not three, but four sets of rankings this evening as we look at the hooker, halfback, 5'8", and mighty front row position. Had a blast last night bringing it to you, and we are jumping into podcast number 2 with yours truly and also the Todd. How are you, Todd?
Yeah, it's good, mate. Had a beautiful day. Looking forward to getting into more rankings, mate. Loved it so much last night. We'll do it again. How about that?
Yeah, boy. And Simo, equal enthusiasm, mate. We had a good run last night.
It was, mate. It was good last night. And I think, the biggest thing for me is just the listener engagement. We're sort of just coming out of the blue. Oh, we're back. And then all the listeners out there just jump straight on board. They've been jumping on live, commenting for the Listener League. Yeah, it's made it a lot easier to jump on again tonight and go through 4 more positions. So it's bloody good going.
Absolutely. Well said, Simo. It's great to have the support of you listeners. That's what we do it for, a bit of fun. And it has been great. We've already pretty close to getting the numbers. I think we're all pretty much there, numbers for the Listener League. But want to encourage, as per Simo's suggestion, still get your comments in because we're going to need more than just the 9 in terms of getting people to a draft day. It's always tough, and we'll have some attrition there. So keep sending it in with the code word. That was good fun to see littered in the chat. Gentlemen, I did do the VOM emoji, and we'll get the hooker position out of the way because it is a necessary evil, but not one I've prioritized for a long time. I had a crack at Appy Coruscant last year just because I thought it was priced okay. Still didn't work. There's just no point, really, is there? Harry Grant, Blake Brayley, clear number 1 and 2, sorry. Easy done. How early, gentlemen? I mean, we had Harry Grant in the top 20 yesterday just out of respect, I believe. He's still not someone I want to anchor my team around, Todd. He doesn't win you enough weeks to make him worth that draft price, even for me.
No, I'm the same, mate. We had him in there last night and just sort of mid to end of round 2. Some people might go a bit earlier, but again, I'd rather take one of these upside CT dubs that can score 120, 130 a week over Harry Grant. Because although you know what Harry's going to do, he had a bit of a down year last year. I think he only averaged about 62, but it's just such a dead position. And then we saw last year Wishart coming in and taking a few of his minutes as well. So yeah, I don't think that I could comfortably in the round 2 go, I'm going to take Harry Grant here, which is a fall from grace. I think 2 or 3 years ago I had him in my top 5. So I think I might have been the only one, but I think I had him in my top 5. So yeah, Hook is a bit of a rough one this year. Obviously the breakout season for Blake Brayley last year, which was interesting. And I think we touched on that, but yeah, it's a bit of a rough position this year.
Yeah, I think Blake Brayley, is it a mirage? Did he do, what is going to be expected going forward? I know that for me, I think he's well and truly in the origin frame this year as well, I would hope, if New South Wales selectors.
You should hope so.
His delivery from dummy half is as good as Harry Grant's. It's outstanding. The ability to pass into space is just phenomenal. Simo, I know we didn't have him in the top 20. He's probably not far after that, I'd say, somewhere between round 3 and 4. But, mate, I've known you a long time, and I still think that'd be too rich for your blood, most likely.
Well, yeah, it would be. And there shouldn't really be much of a gap between Harry Grant and Blake Brayley. And a lot of people that owned Harry Grant last year listening to the podcast and go, geez, I tell you what, I wish I had Blake Brayley last year instead. So I think, yeah, there'd be a few people that are a bit up in arms about Brayley not being ranked the number 1 hooker, and I kind of get that. But, yeah, it's just one of those positions, hooker, where I think what history would show us is sort of hookers ranked 3 through 6. We're usually kind of somewhat keen on those guys as a mid-round value, 5 through 6, maybe even round 4 if you want to get really frisky. But a lot of the time, most of those players fizzle out. You might get lucky with a Brayley from last year, but for every Blake Brayley, there's a JMK or there's a Coruscant that got injured. Reed Marnie, for example. There's just it's almost like the hooker dead zone where it's just a bit too risky for what you could get when you just wait a bit later. And if you ended up getting a Tommy Starling last year, for example, it might have worked out really well. So yeah, it's not a high upside position hooker, and I think it's one of those ones you can easily leave alone.
You can, Simone. A good example of that is JMK. Mate, you drafted him last year. We loved him. I was completely in agreement with you. You dropped him because he was going terrible and his minutes were getting done. And then I managed to pick him up on the run home where he got his minutes back and he was outstanding. Great example for me, mate, is that like ponying up on draft day for these guys almost never works. It just doesn't for some reason. So I think we'll definitely dive a bit deeper into the rankings and also the sudden ascension of Sandon Smith, given news that we have all received in the league community today. But it's a mess. And I think we want to help our listeners. A couple of bits of news there. Don't freak out if they start going on a run on draft day. Don't think you've got to jump on the back of that run. Set yourself. Make sure you set at other positions that have a chance of league winning upside. Don't wait. Don't be the last, probably, gentlemen. I think we'll find from these rankings. Yeah. We agree. It gets messy. At the bottom of the 10, it gets real messy. But just try and get someone you can say, hey, red hot chance of hitting me 50 every week. Anything else is a bonus, right? That's the strat.
That's the strat for me.
Yep. All right. So, gentlemen, to that point, I have pushed Sandon Smith all the way up to number 3 for me. If he's named as the number 7 and the goal kicker for the Knights, who I don't think will necessarily do very well in defense this year, but I think in attack they might hum along pretty decently well. And I think with Brown on the outside of him in 6, hopefully, how good is that as a Knights fan if that's happening? With Fletcher and Ponga and Dom Young and that, I think attack will be decent enough this year, and Dylan Lucas. Boys, I've got him at 3 because I didn't love Appy last year. Didn't work for too many minutes, too many low floor games. Reece Robson, I'm worried about the minutes being the 80 that he's used to. If you could tell me he plays 80 every week, then I'm happy to have Reece Robson here. I'll go to you, Simo, being the Roosters fan, mate.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think we're talking pre-podcast about the Roosters and what their team makeup's going to be, because it impacts a lot what Robinson decides to do at that lock spot. He's obviously got a few options there where we saw Naf White play 13 a bit towards the end of last year. Connor Watson would obviously make a logical choice to play there with Robson playing 9. But then there could also be a scenario where these hookers at the Roosters, especially if O'Ellie gets a bench spot, they could potentially cannibalise each other quite a bit. So there's risk in all of them, but there's definitely upside in all of them. So I think that Robson in particular, he's one of those ones that probably his floor could be really bad based on what we've seen at the Cowboys. But, yeah, there is a potential there if he does get 80 minutes. But you just need to draft him in a spot where you're happy to take that risk on. And for me, it's probably behind guys like Coruscant that I think are a bit more solid in their role. But sort of at that 5 or 6 ranked hooker is probably fair. But I could easily see people falling in, as we get closer to drafts. Brandon Smith could get a bit of hype that could push him up there. And I wouldn't necessarily begrudge people from doing that if that's what they believe in. So there are other options that you could go with.
There are, mate. And, Tom Starling's not without a bit of fear. We've been through this for a long time, Simo, and he finally hit there last year. But you've now got also Jaden Bradley there, who probably is a reserve grader. I'm not saying he's going to come in and take minutes, but Owen Paddy, mate, every time he got the ball, he was electric. So, geez, he makes me a bit nervous as well. I wouldn't want to be ponying up.
We're always wrong on Tom Starling, don't forget.
Every year.
Whatever we say, you should probably just do the opposite. We were off him last year. We were off him last year, and he was good. Ended up playing minutes. So if we're on him this year, you watch Owen Paddy come in and take 25 minutes a game and just thwart his value. So
absolutely,
that's all you need to know about him.
That's fair. Just a quick detour. Welcome to our man Dursto. Lads, how are we? Going to listen along in the background while I'm slaving away on some good old-fashioned after-hours work. Nice and early in the new year. I thought you were talking about the cocktail for a minute and realised you're adding after-hours work to that, so fair play. Good to have
you work more punting in the Bunners Club, thanks, Dursto. That'd be nice.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. All right, so Todd's up to you, mate. I saw your reaction when I said Sandon Smith in 3. Give me your run all the way down to, I'm going to presume, probably 8, your top 8, where I think, to me, there's almost a clear 8 this year, maybe 9 if you want to include Jake Simpkin. Not sure about him.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually have Ben Hunt as my 3rd. Just think he's going to play 9 there at the start of the season. Wow. Be an absolute freak. Then I do have, after today's news, Sandon Smith.
Yep.
Followed by Connor Watson, Api Coruscant, and my little smoky, Jake Simpkin.
You do? Okay, so you're buying. I did hear they were looking to find a backup. That was the only concern. If he plays 80 minutes, he's as good a punt as any. Like average 60 odd when he got the 80 minutes towards the back end. Always been a
He's really good too. Really good.
Good footballer. I'd like that he's getting his chance. If you look at that, obviously you have the benefit of drafting late into season. If through the trials it looks like he's going to be an 80-minute man, I mean, I agree that I'll be putting him way further up the rankings. Yeah. Where does Reed Marnie and JMK sit for you, Tods? I think two of the harder ones to judge.
Yeah, so literally the next two. So 8 and 9 are Jeremy Marshall King and Marnie. Jeremy Marshall King would have been my third hooker. Just that round six rounds of not having him it's a bit tough. So I did drop him down a lot. But Reed Marnie, like they've just signed Sonny Luke up there too. So it's not great signs to then bring in another guy who has played first grade. It could be pretty average minutes here. And Reed Marnie hasn't really been relevant for the last couple of years. So these guys down, these like Marnie, Verrills, Egan, these guys down, like they're all sort of in that area where if you wait some deep rounds, you can get some value because they're going to knock out a 50. But just for the sake of this, like at the top 8, that's where Marshall King rounds out for me.
Ben Hunt is the big one you said there, mate.
Though. Yeah, boy.
You've got him in third. Now, I was on record podcast last year hoping he would get at least 65 minutes and plow over for a few tries. Obviously, that's what you envision for him to at least start 2026.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think he's going to start 2026. I really wanted to play north of 60 minutes, and I'll be pretty happy with him being the third.
Okay, so Billy Walters' injury does make that possible.
Does make it.
They do have a lot of backups still. Moser potentially still loitering around, but if you think they're only 15 to 20 minutes they're going to take off him, mate, well, I tell you what, Sim, I'll throw to you, mate. I've got Ben Hunt way wrong on my rankings then because I've got him right down the bottom in like 13 on my list.
Yeah, I'm more towards you on this one, Redford. It's just Benny Hunt, like in theory, what Toddy said there is a great outcome if you can get 65 minutes at hooker. It's just, I don't know, the Broncos have just won the comp. I feel like their eye's always going to be on back end of year, and a guy that's going to be turning, 36 or 37?
37, I believe it is.
I just don't think they're going to burn him out minutes-wise during the regular season. And it might be one of those picks that, like, it could be one of those ones that you drop halfway through the year, and then someone else picks him up towards the back end when the minutes increase, and then you ride him home at the end. But, yeah, for me, I think the third's probably a little bit too rich, but, like, I respect Toddy for his take and going on that route because, I mean, there's plenty of upside with Benny Hunt if he does end up playing big minutes because we know he can dive over from dummy half pretty much as good as peak Brandon Smith at times. So yeah, he's got it all there.
Interesting there that you were quite aggressive as well on Connor Watson, Todzer. I found him a bit tough to rank, and even, Simo, I think I shared some rankings with you yesterday. I've dropped him down a little bit. He's going to need that upside to push past those 40-point scores that he does from the bench because he's really tidy. He does some good stuff. But I would probably still rather a lot of these guys who are more likely to get 50 on their own, like as a starter, I think. So I just knocked him down, and I probably will even move him below Simpkin, I think, because I've got Simpkin only in like 10th. I think I'll go with him even if he gets 65 minutes over a Connor Watson because I just think there's so many mouths to feed in that Roosters side. You said Oelu as well there, Simo. I can't be too excited about having him as my starting hooker. Simo, how high did you get Connor here?
He's a really tough one to rank. You're being on there because this is a really comes down to personal preference quite a lot. And I think for me, Connor Watson's that sort of guy that a lot of his attacking stats came from him jumping out of dummy half.
Yeah.
Either, being a tied forward, making a line break, or setting up a try from dummy half. I think that attacking upside may drop quite a lot if he's going to play a bench forward role. But on the flip side, like his base is going to go through the roof. So he's probably going to go back more towards what he was the year before, when he did have a really good season at lock, but just not. I think the minutes, though, that he got that year are going to be a lot more in question because he was a beast when he played 13 last time. But I just think there's too many mouths to feed the Roosters there where maybe you could be looking at a bit of a rotation there where he's not playing massive minutes. one of those guys that could easily win you a league if you get it right. But yeah, I think for mine, like I'm happy to throw him in sort of in that middle tier. I think where Toddy had him, I think is not too bad because if you get that right, there is still plenty of upside there.
Starting 13, if he does roll into that later in the season, he becomes a very hot commodity. So I think you do have that redraw just ever so slightly if injuries were to happen. And I don't mind where you had him, Tots. As I said, I've dropped him to 10, but that's a starter, right? I get it. And that's assuming you play Sandon Smith as a hooker or 5'8", which I'll save to the 5'8" rankings come out, and then we'll try and I'll mold those together. We won't spend too much longer on hooker, gentlemen, other than you can draft Wade Egan and enjoy the first half of the year, has been his historical contribution. If you wanted to, you can just pay attention to that and probably pick up some of Sam Healy, who we really like. So just quickly mentioning him, don't need to draft him, but just have a look. You've got Damien Cook and Little just bastardizing minutes. The under-over, season-long bet in our punters club there, Simo. Can we please check on Jacob Little and just go the unders if we could?
We're sure we can.
I'm sure it reeks of a Dwayne Bowe moment for those who play NFL.
Oh. Yeah. It would be if you can find anywhere that's offering that, sign it up.
Certainly, we'll have a good look, see, mate. Then you got your plotters. So I'll touch on the South boys just to finish off in a moment. But your plotters, so Mitch Kenny, no excitement here. Phoenix Cross, no excitement here. May not even start at 9 if Sandon does in fact play there. That was the other rumor with Fletcher Sharp to sneak into the 6 then with Brown at 7. But we'll see. Bailey Hayward, not much interest. Riley Smith, it's just really hard now with Talon De Silva on the bench, who they're keen on long term. So it's kind of ruined him a little bit too. Brendan Hands, I think, is he even moved on now?
Surely he's in the Super League.
Yeah, I think he might. I actually think he might.
Pretty sure.
Welcome to Grabs Kebabs. Yes, welcome back. Good to have you, sir. Great to be back with us.
He plays in the Super League for sure.
There you go. He does. So to finish, gentlemen, on the hookers, I want to touch on the Brandon Smith, Bronson Garlick, Peter Mamazalis. They've all Garlick, when he played and got minutes, was actually pretty good at the Storm. Mamazalis showed a little bit in the time he got the minutes, but all the chat preseason and classic darling in the second hooker spot is Brandon Smith, who apparently has been training in the 9. He's on decent enough coin that South probably have to try and do something more with him than they did. Give me anything. Is there even just a hope of a lottery pick here, Simo?
There is hope, definitely. When you think about the stars aligning for Brandon Smith, South projected to be a much better team. He's coming off a bit of turbulence in the media, obviously a few injuries as well. Back with Wayne Bennett there, like if there's ever a guy that can turn the ship, we've seen it with Wayne Bennett before. Like the narrative is there written for Brandon Smith. He's just got to get on the field and prove it again, but like you wouldn't be shocked to see the Cheese bounce back because he's still a good player in there somewhere. I'm sort of a little bit. I've got a bit of that in me actually with the Cheese. I kind of like it. But I'm a bit. I get it. You can still sense there's trepidation though, but
yeah.
I don't hate him as a strategy in himself, but obviously you got to take him with someone. Like I would love to get Starling and Cheese. That'd be a great combo. And just roll with that. I think one of them would be shit, one of them would be good.
Starling and Cheese, even Sam Verrills held his own last year. I think he's actually a really good cut price option. He's actually again quite a good player if he can stay fit. Touch wood. Even if you just wait and grab your Verrills, your Simpkin, Marnie, if your league's not, he's never a popular player. Read Marnie either. To be fair, you could always do that and just grab Smith. And if Smith happens to blow up and be more like a 55-60 guy, you kind of got a double whammy at a really cheap price. So just keep him in your thoughts, folks. If Garlic or Mamazalis start, probably not as keen, but they have shown a little bit, so I thought I'd better mention them.
Yeah, and a guy you did mention before that I should have jumped in on. Reed Marnie, I know Toddy said the Sonny Luke thing has poured a lot of cold water on it, but if that signing never happened, I think there would have been a lot of value in Reed Marnie because let's face it, the public hates him. He's not a popular player.
Yep.
If you watch the Cowboys closely and it looks like Marnie's going to play 80 and Sonny Luke's just going to be essentially a Queensland Cup player. Like, probably not going to happen, let's face it. Like, I assume that Sonny Luke signed there to get first grade, but if it's looking to the contrary, where you might get an 80-minute Reed Marnie, he could also be just a really good value on draft day, but not one that anyone's going to push you on, because we've sort of seen Reed Marnie run his day, because everyone's sort of a bit sick of him. But yeah, just one to keep your mind on.
I've sipped the Kool-Aid even with the Sonny Luke. I've still got him in 8th on my most recent rankings, and I think he's a top 10 guy quite comfortably, and I think he will have just enough floor upside to stay there and be a contributor at a really cheap price. So I'm actually on this year myself.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, that's enough at hooker. We've got through it. How do you feel on top?
Too much. We spent 15 minutes on hooker. That's crazy.
I think we've given it just what it needed, mate, for a preseason body. But yeah, fair. Let's put that one aside. So on to a couple more, much more exciting positions, the halfback and the 5'8". And again, listeners will finish with that FRF. Halfback, we've got our clear number 1. Don't need to go into it. Nathan Cleary, maintain, easy, done. We've already got him in the top 2 overall draft picks where he belongs. Easy, done. Not going to spend much time on the next couple either. Hines and Campbell, pick your poison. I think they're as close in rankings as you could possibly find. Sharks possibly a better side, but obviously Titans' new coach, Holbrook there. Sorry, not Holbrook. I'm literally Hannay, the one. They're wishful thinking for which one I actually would out of those two.
You want to swap?
Definitely. How many times did I mention Hannay last year when he was just floating there in the universe?
Never heard of him.
Oh, shut up. Campbell and Hines.
Holbrook's a good coach.
We could jump between them all. Let's leave that. The next couple, I don't think there's been any change. So Sammy Walker, Jerome Hughes. Todza, I just we had a discussion pre-potty that I think is relevant just for consideration with Sammy Walker in relation to DCE. Do you want to share that with the listeners, please, mate?
Yeah, I saw a quote today from their media day. It was Sammy Walker was saying that him and DCE it probably doesn't really matter who has a 7 on the back, who has the 6. They're going to play both sides of the field, which was interesting. I'm a little bit worried about Sammy Walker and DCE taking too much of the ball off him. So I know you were saying pre-potty like you don't mind him playing both sides, which I understand. I just don't know how much ball DC is going to have in his hand, which is going to be interesting to watch. Sort of maybe trials when they get their first go in trials together, or yeah.
Simo, any thoughts on that?
Yep. For me, I thought you guys were a bit high having him above Hughes last night. So, yeah, if Toddy's made that change in his rankings, I'd support that because that's sort of how I had it initially anyway.
Yep. Okay. Fair play. So, but we're in agreement, guys. I think they're the next two, even with that potential slight deduction with Walker. I couldn't bring myself, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, with the news about Dylan Brown, he will be about the only dual half 5'8" of note in the league this year, we think, pretty much. I've moved him all the way up here, gentlemen. I'm not big on Mitch Moses this year. I was having a good think about it after a potty last night. I think he'll be a bust if he's taken in round 2. I think you're asking too much of a Parramatta side who did finish the year strong, but they won't have Lomax. They may get Howarth back in return at best, who's a bit of a plotter for SuperCoach purposes. I'm not buying the hype train of Parramatta, and I'm fading Moses at least below Dylan Brown here. Todza, thoughts?
No, mate. I actually have in my 6-hole young Isaiah Katoa ahead of Moses and Brown. So pretty high on Katoa this year. I know he had a breakout season last year, but I just think he can easily take his game to another level and really push this top 5. So that's how I have it. But in terms of Moses versus Brown, I have Moses ranked at the 8, just above Brown. So, yeah.
Okay, righto. I actually, in a sign of solidarity, and now that you've actually said that out loud, I have actually put Katoa above Moses there just now. I like it. I think as I really think more deeply, Dolphins on the ascendancy, young gun, doesn't goal kick, but if Moses' team aren't winning as many games as they should, is it really going to count for shit? 9 points a game. Only going to bring him up to the low 60s at best. Simo, tell me so we've got, so Cleary, Hines, Campbell, again in any order, Hughes, Walker. Give me your next little run, please, fella.
Crazy to say this. I never thought I would, but I must be the high guy on Mitch Moses this year, boys.
You are.
I will happily take Moses next.
Okay.
You give me a goal-kicking Mitchell Moses with essentially like whatever you want to call Joash Papali. Sorry, not Joash Papali. Jonah Pezzett, sorry. Jonah Pezzett outside him. Jonah Pezzett outside him. I think it's just all signs point to Moses just getting to run the show. And I think a lot will go through him. Like, I know that Eels aren't a good team. That's obviously your big argument there. So I'll just take Moses as an elite player, getting all the ball, getting to do whatever he wants, kicking goals. For me, he's the next cab off the rank.
Okay. And that might be, I would imagine Simo being a classic darling this year at the price that he's at as well. It'll be a very popular pick as the next halfback, I would imagine. Some may even have him challenging Sammy Walker. I think that would be a reasonable argument for some. But then after that, mate, so Moses is next. Have you got, and again, we've added Dylan Brown. We know, listeners, he's not yet dual, but pretty much the way it's gone, it's going to happen. So with Brown added, Simo, what's your next couple?
I would take Dearden next as my next cab off the rank. So I'd go Moses, Dearden, Katoa. That's sort of my next few cabs off the rank.
Okay.
Dylan, that's low for Dylan Brown, but I think he's one of those ones that you're drafting to play at 5'8" anyway. So, yeah. As we said, a lot of value in halfback, though.
There absolutely is. Now, I want to talk for our listeners. We did, Simo, you mentioned yesterday you've got a lot of confidence in Tommy Dearden. My pushback, and I've got Dearden, as I'm sure you're not surprised, Simo, outside the top 10. So I've got him 11th in this ranking, as I'm not a fan of the floor. Frame me an argument. Why will he suddenly not have this absolutely gut-crushing floor that he's had his entire career in SuperCoach?
I just think that he's one of those guys that he's almost the prototype of a guy that's been touted as a young superstar. Obviously, the Broncos didn't believe in him, moved to the Cowboys. Everything you see from Tom Dearden over the last 3 years, the bloke has just gotten better and better and better. And he's just got that competitive edge that not many players in the comp have. Mm-hmm. This is just me saying that I don't want to bet against Tom Dearden. I don't want to be that person. I'd rather be betting on Tom Dearden because I think the bloke has just done everything right. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the stats don't always show the whole story. And for me, I just would happily take Dearden at what is an awesome value, to be quite honest. So if we're talking back end of the sort of 8, 9, 10, for you it's outside the top 10, and Chris, sign me up for that value on Dearden because I think he's still got good enough upside and an ascending player in a team that, sure, don't have a lot, but him and Drinkwater are, pseudo Thurston and Bowen style in the 2026 year. So I kind of like the upside.
I've just had a good look at the stats to make sure that, where it sits in terms of that floor. And I will give you this, Simo, is a very promising finish to the year in terms of avoiding that floor. Yes, he did have, and I could easily cherry pick and say, against Parramatta when they're on their run, he dropped a 23 at a really shitty time in people's season. So but I promise I'm not going to go hard on that. He actually, if you go from round 17, 63, 62, 73, the massive 165 against the poor Dragons where he just kept dummying and they fell for it like 40.
He'll do that.
Yeah. 96 against Newcastle, Tigers 58 and 51 against Broncos. So going by my floor argument, that's actually not horrible. If you did the first half of the season, my argument holds up spectacularly. Like, it was really rough from rounds 1 through to 16. There's one massive spike game and heaps of floor games. So I like your argument that he's an ascending player, that if he continues that momentum in, well then, he deserves to be a lot higher in my rankings.
The thing is here, like at the spot we're talking here, like you're talking guys like Jamal Fogarty, sort of level of player, or a Metcalf coming off an ACL. Like I feel like the spot you're getting him at here, it's not like you're drafting him over like these Sammy Walkers and those sort of Isaiah Katoas. It's like he's not being talked about in that realm. So I think the quality of player that we're trying to compare him to, I think it's a bit of a, I don't know. Personally, I think it's a bit of a blight on poor Tommy Dearden, to be fair.
I just think the players I've got around him, so for me in the rankings that I've updated today, I had, Dylan Brown, Katoa, Moses, which I did just change a little bit. Thanks. I agree with Todd. And then Fogarty, Galvin, Dearden for me, right? I still think Manly will be a good attacking side. I think Fogarty will be the goal kicker. If he isn't, of course, completely disregard what I just said. But I think it's like, for me, Simo, your argument's pretty solid. I can see him absolutely in that tier. But there's no way I'd take him over Brown, Katoa, or Moses, right? For me, I think he's comfortably beneath them. If you get him at value, Todd, do you have interest in Tommy Dearden?
Yeah, I do, mate. I'm sort of a little bit of both of you. I'm not going to take him above Moses, Brown, Katoa. So I have him right here in the 9 spot, ahead of Galvin and Fogarty, which I think those guys, Galvin, Fogarty, if you want to put Metcalf in there as well with that after round 7, like those kind of guys are some really good late-end guys that are going to give you heaps of value for where you draft them. I do like Tommy Dearden. Like, just looking at his stats too, like the last few years, his average has been 58, 58, 61, then last year 65. So it is on the up, and I'm happy to have him here in the 9 hole.
Yeah, and look, apologies, listeners, again. I meant to say Dylan Brown when we did the 5/8 rankings, obviously the 5/8 edition. That's my apologies for that. But I think just looking at those rankings then, gentlemen, there's a clear top 11 this year in halfbacks, and they're all pretty damn good options. Would you agree? Like, they're not terrible. I know even if you're not the biggest Galvin or Fogarty fan, if you got stuck with them on draft day, you're still not like, oh my God, I'm going to be definitely giving it up.
It's Lockie not like Galvin, you're being stuck with Brooks like you have been in other years.
That's right, Timo. That's exactly right. And they're not duels. With the exception of Brown, who you may lose, you've still got 10. Let's face it, you draft Dylan Brown now, you're going to have him as a 5/8. Let's not fuck around with that. But yeah, you got 10 good options. So I think going back to our argument yesterday in round 1 and 2 of why taking Walsh, I fully think you guys are both have validated that you said a bit deeper in the halfback this year. Absolutely. These are good options. Yep. Going into those outside the top 10 or 11 then, Metcalf's a good guy to take a punt on if you're happy to wait. You can probably even get away with the Tanner Boyd start. I did last year in the final series because in a right matchup, he can still get you 70 with his goal kicking. He's fine. He's not great, but you could potentially not waste paying for another position is where I was going with that. It's a real shame, the Raiders thing, because I'm very interested in Ethan Sanders. I think that's a very cool little – I love him as a stab just to see what will happen there because someone's got to bloody do something other than Ethan Strange. Curious.
There's no point not taking the Sanders punt because you're getting him at such a good value. Sure, you might not play 26, but it's a long season. If you draft Ethan Sanders and you're getting a guy that breaks out deluxe – this is a big ask, but say he does what Luke Metcalf did last year.
Yeah.
Like this time a year ago, we were saying the same thing about Metcalf, and he broke out massive. Like, you're not going to regret having that player. So jump on board. Don't let the round 26 thing scare you off.
Not when it comes to this late in the draft. No, that my rule applies to those much higher up the list for sure. If you're a Metcalf believer, Toddy, I know you're a massive fan as a Wild's fan and for SuperCoach. The kid is a gun. You could do a Metcalf and a Sanders. You could do, a Sanders, even a Reynolds for the fast start to the year. You could even look at a Dewey. Like, there are options at the back end here that don't absolutely box you out of a starter. So the question is, gentlemen, is it better? Obviously, Cleary and Hines and Campbell are super sought after. They're going to win your weeks regularly. If you don't grab those three, is it potentially a theory to hold on in halfback this year?
Yep. Like, I guess it's the old great or late strategy, isn't it?
Like, I think so.
It might make that middle tier, that Hughes, Walker, Moses Katoa, who was the other guy we said? There's one. Oh, Brown. It might make those guys really tricky to draft because there's going to be people that wait and get a very good value on these later end guys, on the Metcalfs, on the Tommy Deardens. It's a good shout on the Fogarties.
It's good to see, really good to see. As you probably picked up, listeners, I believe in Fogarty. I'm not saying he's a earth-shattering talent and he's not going to win you seasons alone. But again, if you punted the halfback position and everyone believes he's only about fringe of top 10, geez, you're going to get good value on the starter and an attacking side. Like, he's not terrible, put it that way.
If you're looking for the Connor Tracy of halfbacks, it's fine.
Tough on Jamal Fogarty.
That's a bit harsh on Jamal.
So, the fact you've got him over Dearden, I'm not happy about it.
We'll see. Like, I love the decision to be taken out of my hands. I love the decision to be taken out of my hands, and he's not goal kicking. It is, and then it just changes everything. It punts him way down. The other players worth a mention, I said to you, Reynolds and Dewey. Dewey, when he plays, is actually pretty damn decent as a SuperCoach option. You've got in-game injury risk, so don't put your whole season on him. I quite like Daniel Atkinson, but I wish he was playing 6, and I wish Flanagan was the 7 personally. Don't think he's a game manager at all. If that flips at some point, I think that's a decent enough shout. Finu probably won't start. Forget about Humphreys and Wishart needs an injury. They're just the players that rounded out my rankings. Quick one, Todd. Any special mention about the bottom end there?
No, not really, mate. Just watch on, ton of boy Tamari Martin, see who gets that. Tamari Martin could be a little shout. Yeah, we saw a bit of form from him in 7, I think Tanner Bird's going to get the start.
Agreed. Welcome to Mitch K, 5438. Didn't have multiple partners in the half to start the season, may affect score. Absolutely good shout, Mitch. He also did pivot between that 6 and 7 a bit, and then once Origin hit, came back with that energy and was the 7 and looked a lot better. So I, at the very least, when challenged by Simo here, I get it. I will certainly be looking closely at Tommy Dearden, albeit I probably won't be the one to draft him when he goes well. So good luck to you. All right.
Where you've got him ranked, mate, you won't be drafting him. I'm just telling you that. Right?
Oh, no. The most I could get him up to would still be, 9? Get him to 9. So, sure. Probably means
which is where Toddy's got him.
Yeah.
Which is where Toddy's already got him. So, and I'm the same. I've got him in the same spot. So,
yeah, okay. All right, on to 5/8. So, again, caveat here. This is the worst list of 5/8s in any memory that Simo, we go back a long way, mate. This is very, very shallow.
It's never been this bad. I'm going to go on record. I cannot think of a year where we didn't at least have, 2 bona fide high-end picks and then maybe a decent third. Whereas, we're really banking on the Dylan Brown news of him possibly getting dual here. That's massive for the landscape of 5/8.
It's huge, mate, and I think we all had a chat about this pre-potty. If Dylan Brown gets dual, mate, guys, we're not going to beat around the bush. Obviously, Munster's the clear number 1 with a bullet, which is why we still had him ranked up there in a round 1 draft pick, even though none of us were that excited about it. Like, he's just so clearly the best this year. But Dylan Brown, mate, as a dual, he's number 2.
Yeah, I think easily number 2. 5/8. Like when we've seen him have, seasons of 70 averages at 5/8 in Parramatta. So, for him to pump up there into number 2 ahead of guys like Strange, Mam, Talangi, Cherry Evans, pretty easy to say that guy could easily knock out a 7. There is a bit of a thing behind it, whereas the Knights are not going to be as strong in the forward pack. So the kind of ball they're going to be getting, I know they're going to attack a little bit more with obviously a gun half, but again, it is to be wary, but again, the guys below him and just it's not good enough compared to him anyway.
Yeah, I think so, mate. And look, I think the thing Dylan Brown, we've spoken about previous seasons, he has that sneaky little flaw of tackling. He's like a 20-a-game tackler type of guy, which does just help versus some other halves out there that need attacking stats just to get even a functional score. So a decent floor argument, and hopefully if the Knights aren't the worst team in the comp this year, we'll be all right.
That might still be the
Isn't
worst
it crazy it's crazy how quick things can change? Like, it was literally 24 hours ago. We were floating for Fletcher Sharp as a high-end pick now.
I nearly cried today when I saw it. I was like, man, I look like the biggest idiot on the last night's podcast.
All right, Todd's up. But I will ask you, mate, Fletcher Sharp, how low does the man drop now?
I just dropped him so far, dude. He's outside the top 10. If he's been playing 14, he won't even be drafted. So,
yeah. You'd still draft him just on the chance that the Knights go badly and there's some chop and change. I don't think he should be floating. But, boy, howdy, mate. He drops down it's pretty bad.
He's too good a player to not be in their team. When Newcastle start racking up losses, he's not going to sit on the bench.
couldn't agree more. I think I still most would agree. Just shove him on the left wing while he's at this age. Let Ponga play out what he does till 360 comes a call, and keep him keen on the Knights. Give him money that's a bit better than wingers' money because he's a future talent, as they've done. You've got Sandon and Brown. They're going to be good halves. That's a good combo.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we just let Greg Marju be the 2026 version of Tane Milne? Let him play in the second row for a while. Just take some heads off. He takes a few heads off.
Yeah, mate, he wouldn't last long, but someone's got to pick up the slack of Hetherington, who's now taking his to the Storm. All right, so yeah, we've obviously dropped. I've just at the moment dropped Fletcher down to like 13th, just with an asterisk. So who knows? But respectfully, down below starters. After him, and this one is the one that hurts the most, in my opinion, in terms of that round 26 line through, is Ethan Strange. Exciting career trajectory, SuperCoach friendly game. There is uncertainty around his halves partner because obviously if Fogarty was still there, the way Strange came home last year, you're like, wow, okay, wouldn't mind a piece of that. Oh, man, like, Toddy, this one hurts because I would love to get on the hype train of Ethan Strange.
Yeah, 100%. I'm the same, mate. It's just that round 26 bye sucks. But again, he's probably going to knock you out of top 5 returns. So he's going to get drafted pretty high just because of last year's end of season run. But yeah, the fact that you've knocked him out, you've it completely.
Yeah, I've still got him ranked 3 because I get it. Like, I understand the skill and versus his rivals. I probably, to be honest, I was thinking about this today, just given the fact I'm just not going to draft him. I've got a suspicion, Todd, you mentioned my apologies, the Sam Walker commentary. I've started to feel as though the DCE story might go okay for SuperCoach. Don't know about real life. What I wanted to point out here is I watched that man in person at the Titans at Skills Stadium. I went to Rabina a few times last year, boys. You may not remember this.
Did you know that? Did you go?
So I watched the man run out of steam with about 15 minutes to go, which for a halfback does look a bit weird, right? Big guys get tired, struggle to run, smaller halves and stuff, keep going and whatever. I turned to my, diehard Manly fan, Mark, and said, mate, he is just gassed. He's just not got it. Defensively, he's going to struggle. Defensively, Sam Walker struggles. I think your Roosters will concede a truck ton of points this year, Simo. I think for SuperCoach purposes, though, with whether it's garbage time or high-scoring back and forwards, I just think DCE might get his. Amongst the wash of all the tries and stuff that are going to be scored, that back line, your great forward pack now, I've got a feeling, mate, it's going to bloody work, and he's going to be the weirdest success story of the year. Are you on board with this? Or warming to it?
I had the same thought. I was like, last night after our podcast, I legit was thinking to myself, what if DCE worked? And it really could. It's no one's on it though. Like, and even though we're saying it, like we're still not really on it in terms of drafting it. It's like it could just fall to a value where you just go, yeah, sure, why not? But it's pretty sick to think about because it could go so wrong.
I've moved him ahead of Ethan Strange because I can't draft Ethan Strange. I've got him in.
No, you didn't. You can't be.
That is wild.
Then is it any more wild than Fletcher Sharp in round 1 as of 24 hours ago, Tots?
I think that's worse.
Oh, come on, mate.
Now
that's low from you, mate. That's low from you. Too early, too soon.
You give me that low.
Guy was he was the number 158 for 7 weeks last year.
Listen, here is what I thought of that take yesterday, Tots. All right.
Lovely.
Okay.
Cool. I'd hate to know where that's been.
So, never you mind where it's been. Thank you, Simo. Or where it's from.
What the fuck is that?
Given a gimmick poop back in the day.
Jesus Christ.
One of my peers who reports to Love and Care for me said they were in some artsy shop and they're like, that made me think of the Redford. Like, thanks so much. That's.
What do you think of Redford shit? What do you think of shit Redford?
What do you reckon, listeners?
Good t-shirt.
Bang on. Shit, right?
I'm glad that you've waited for DCE over Ethan Strange to bring that out because far out that's warranted. That is such a horrible take.
Oh, again, if he was playing around 26, all well and good. I'm fine with it. That wouldn't be part of the equation. But I think about it on draft day. Funny shaped stress ball that says just. But yeah, I'm buying in because, and look, you can do what you want with Ethan Strange. If on talent he should be second or third in these rankings, I'm fine with that. Schedule is what it is. Ezra Mam, Blaze Talangi are probably the other two. If you want to put Matt Burton in that mix, I don't without goal kicking personally. I think that's a very different feeling about Matt Burton's trajectory.
I know Toddy's got strong feelings about this.
So, gentlemen, put Daly beside Ezra and Talangi for me. Give me something here, Simo. You've got them clearly ahead of DCE then, if you're thinking he should be beneath.
Oh, look, I think where you've got them, those three names is fair. Ethan Strange is a different stratosphere. I'll say that. I'll leave it there. But the three guys you've asked me about, like I think these guys are clearly a tier of their own. I think because they've all got question marks, but they've all got upside in weird, different ways. Actually, they're all very different. Like, you've got the young up and comer in Blaze Talangi in a good team, but clearly is going to be a massive second fiddle most of the time to Nathan. You obviously got Ezra Mam there that's got huge upside in the defending premiers, but you know, will he play a bench role at some points throughout the year? Will he improve his floor? Because he's always going to get tries and attacking stats, but it's whether that floor will be there. And then we've already touched on DCE and how he could be weirdly good. Like, but he could also be just as bad as like that career trajectory is obviously not in a good way for him. So, for me, I would rank it Talangi, Mam, DCE. But I'm a bit of a Blaze Talangi fan, bit of a truther.
You are, and I knew that's someone because what he does present, Simo. He had really good floor last year. He was a good floor argument as opposed to the upside, and I think that's because he'd always do just enough in a good team. And he's a good bloody player. Yeah,
I'm definitely a fanboy of Blaze Talangi. I think he's one of those guys that, I mean, just like Ezra Mam too, like they've both got good points of their game. They've both got attacking flair. Mam probably does it more consistently because he's a better support player and gets those tries. But yeah, I feel like I'd be remiss if I was to say like Blaze Talangi hasn't got room to grow because he bloody well does.
He does. And I like what you said about Ezra. If Ezra's floor came up just a bit, then he'd be an exciting and a fun option and probably warranting a higher ranking even than this. Todd, so the worry for Mam as well hasn't been mentioned. That in-game injury risk for him is crazy.
Big. He's a soft tissue gold, Ezra Mam, and that's just the way he is. You know that when you draft him. The way I had them ranked, boys, I actually have a little smoky in there, believe it or not. I got Mam 4, Blaze Talangi 5, and just before DCE, I have 1 Jackson Purdue. I think he can have a real big breakout this year. He averaged 57 last year. I got DCE sort of playing a little bit of second fiddle, and I'm not as confident as you are, Redford. So I think the upside there for Jackson Purdue is crazy. And if they can just click with Tommy Dearden, he starts the season at 6, I'll be pretty happy to draft Jackson Purdue ahead of DCE.
Interesting.
I love that. Elevators, mate. We've heard this before.
The elevators are back.
This is prime elevators, this.
That's good gear. Couple of questions. I guess at a shallow 5'8" position, you'd play him at 5'8", so that ticks that with his dual eligibility. Absolutely. Are you confident that he will start at 5'8" and not Clifford? Because at the moment it seems like they're saying Clifford will be the start just because they looked okay at the back end of the last. I think that's what they were trying to suggest.
Yeah, look, this is obviously with Purdue starting. I do think he's the better 6. I'm not a huge Jake Clifford fan, to be honest. I know they're a lot more settled with 10 there. I just think their team is better with Jackson Purdue at the 6. He wants to play 6 too. I think Tommy Dearden can lead that team around and Jackson Purdue can do his thing. Like, give the kid a go. Like, Todd Payne honestly needs to do something because he's going to lose his job in the first 7 rounds otherwise.
He'd be the shortest price favourite to lose his job. Like,
he's
about this last night. I was going to message our group chat, Redford, because we love a good pun on the first coach, Zach.
We do.
Yes, we're good for it. But this year, like Riles is new. Like Shane Flanagan's probably not. Shane Flanagan is probably he's probably got another year. And all the other teams, they got new coaches. Newcastle's got a new coach. Titans have got a new coach.
Yep.
So they're probably going to get a bit of leash. Tigers have just re-signed Benji Marshall, so he's probably safe. Like Todd Payton has to be like a super short price favourite to be first coach punted.
Wayne Bennett fired for the first time ever, gentlemen. You heard it here first. Absolutely tank.
Wayne Bennett will never get fired.
He's
got more chance of passing away than he does of.
I'm not well.
Touch wood.
Touch wood.
I don't.
Yeah, no, I respect that's a really good call. I like your shout too, Todd's up, but I actually think that could work against the Purdue starting because he could go with what's probably a safer NRL ready player in Clifford. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right because Purdue as a 5'8" is quite exciting, and I like you.
It wasn't Purdue better at centre for SuperCoach? He was better at centre, wasn't he last year?
He absolutely was, mate. Yep. He will at least play centre, so you've got a bit of a redraw anyway there, Tots. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I still prefer him at 5'8", but looking forward to it.
All right, a couple other names. So we mentioned Matt Burton. Obviously, he's lost the goal kicking now, so that just makes him really unattractive. I think almost what we're after here is can he become dual eligible and play CTW by year's end or fullback?
Yeah. One of the two. He's not goal kicking. You don't want him playing. Like you're saying he plays centre in real life.
I'd rather him play centre in real life and be eligible as a centre. So at least you've got I think that's better for him. If he got fullback eligibility as well, there's some chatter because none of us are big Connor Tracy fans. I think you draft Burton with the hope something changes about halfway through the year, to be perfectly frank. It's a long shot, let's be honest. I think he's going to stay there. So AJ Brimson, gentlemen, did average pretty well last year. Titans, I think, will be, at least competitive. He's a hard one for me always. I've never been a Brimson guy, but when he plays, he tends to average all right. Give me an argument here, Todd. Is he one of those good cut price guys?
Look, I think his average last year is really inflated by his fullback scores. I'm just looking here. You got a score of 84, 95, 117, high 80, 121. The scores last year, his average for last year is really pushed up by the time he played fullback. But looking at his scores at 6, he sort of went between that sort of 55 to did have some games where he was at 70 as well. So I've got him ranked just outside top 10. At the moment, I got Matt Burton ranked ahead of him. I don't know if that would change come pre-season. But yeah, that 9, 10, 11 guys, I've got Sandon Smith, Burton, and Brimson. They're all in that sort of, if I'm really struggling and looking for a 5'8" and plug a gap, and then I want to take a chance on Jonah Pezzett, and hopefully that works out or something like that. Those are the kind of guys I probably want to look to do that with. But yeah, I'm not overly excited about Brimson this year.
It's funny, isn't it? I was just saying right in there, Redford, Brimson and Ezra Mam are really not that different in terms of their playing style. Obviously they play the same position. Their upside and their lack of base stats is very similar to the point where it makes you wonder, how can Mam be ranked 5th if Brimson is going to be ranked 10th? There shouldn't really be that discrepancy, but I feel like there will be. And I'm not going to sit here and say anything to the contrary because I've got it ranked that way as well. I've got Mam clearly ahead, but should it really be? It does make you wonder.
If you had Brimson playing for the Broncos in their current setup and you flipped them, I think we'd flip the rankings. With the exception of Mam's at a younger stage of his career, and Brumo is crazy injury prone as well. But it's a good argument, Simo. So Brimson's down there. I made some adjustments, and one of them was putting Sandon Smith comfortably in that top 10. I like it. I think we've talked about him enough, but you'd probably play him at 5'8", given how shallow it is, and go get one of those lower end hookers if you have to. Just gives you flexibility though, gentlemen, if either of those positions pop throughout the year. So he's firming as a really good option.
Tell me you've got the two Knights boys ranked 2 and 3. Or you got Strange in there, don't you?
No, I've updated to Munster, Brown, DCE, Strange, Mam, Talungi, Sandon, Purdue, Burton, Brimson, and then I've got Nikorima is next, just as an okay rounding out the sort of, where is he? He's ranked 11th.
He was good last year, eh?
He is, and if let's be honest,
Sneaky
mate, like
good,
that
man.
Dolphins side looks good. When he's in good sides or on the front foot, he does some damage, and he's got big upside. Yeah. I don't mind Cody Nikorima down here in this spot. Again, he's your break glass guy for me this year, very obviously. You agree with that, Todd?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Then I've got Cody Walker out of respect that he's starting and he's got a pulse, but you won't see me drafting Cody Walker.
He's got a pulse.
Just barely. No thanks for me. That floor is almost zero.
I don't hate, like, if it's ever going to happen, that's all I'll say, is if it's ever going to happen, if he's got anything left, they have, all I'll say is that South have at least put the foundations around Cody Walker.
Agreed.
So if there's anything there, he will show it. And because there's no excuses for him. They've got a really good team there. Like if all that's left for Cody is between the ears, which let's face it, he's one of the best we've seen in terms of his short passing game or long part. Like he rarely takes the wrong option with the ball. So sure, he's not going to be scoring 40-meter runaways anymore. But I feel like Cody Walker, it's not a hard sell, but just someone that should be clearly drafted as a backup. And if he ends up being all right, like I think he's just a free swing that you'll probably cut him after 5 weeks and be done with him. But just wait and see, because you think South's going to be better. It's hard for Cody Walker to miss out completely.
Yeah, I like him, man. That's why I did rank him up here. I think 12 is respectful. It's on the edge of fringe starter ranking. I think you boys would be somewhat similar. Dodger, is that about right for you as well?
Yeah, he's about 13, yeah.
Yeah, like I get it, and I would draft him as a bench start. But I think, again, for us, I think we're nodding in agreement. Cody Nikorima is the last of you guys if you can just say, hey, yeah, I can put him in. He's okay. The other gentleman there, if you're like Jonah Pezzett, for me, I wouldn't be comfortable starting with him as a 5'8". I couldn't do it. I think that's asking a lot. I think he's a talented player. Eels would have to be better. You said Moses will be the dominant half, Simo, which I'm in agreement with. I think, again, is he going to have enough upside to really make a difference for your team? I can't see it personally. Albeit maybe he comes home strong. That could be the only little asterisk there.
Yeah.
Anything?
He's someone that I'm out on. I don't know. I don't really know why, but it's just I'm just not feeling it.
Yep, I'm with you. Todza, any harder on Pezzett?
No harder on Pezzett. It's definitely a wait and see. Those kind of guys, like you got Chanel Harris-Tavita around there, he'll probably average around a 50 as well. Does have his low days, but those kind of guys, like they're sort of guys you pick up once you lost your 5'8" kind of thing.
Yep, nice. And I'm not even going to mention the rest of the names there. They're not really that relevant.
I think Wishart's relevant, just as a handcuff.
You can handcuff it up, particularly given the injury record, and Origin run as well. I haven't strictly looked at Origin scheduling, which we will do in our last podcast before the end of preseason. Jumping back in, and just for the record, put Fletcher Sharp sitting in there at 13, gentlemen, because I think irrespective, even if he's named in the 14, I still think he has more value than Pezzett, CHD, Clifford, Wishart for an actual draft.
Yeah. Mate, I'd be drafting him probably in the top 8. Like I think he's still.
You're still there? Okay.
Yeah, like I'm that confident in, like, you can't have watched Fletcher Sharp last year and have him be a bench player or even less. Like it's just that blows my mind for what we saw from him. Unless his injury was that bad, but it doesn't appear from all reports that it was. Like he seems recovered. So yeah, I think Fletcher Sharp's just one of those guys that you draft him and stash him away and start trading him for a while if you have to.
Also, until it's confirmed that he in fact is not starting at 5'8", listeners, just make sure that you probably bring him up a little bit more on the chance that he does start, because then he actually comes into argument, like Todd said, to be the number 1 5'8" overall. So he's worth a punt in those leagues. If you draft the next few weeks, move him up. I agree. Dursto has said Sharp on the wing is saucy as well. I completely agree. Mm-hmm. On the left wing with Ponga, Brown, I could not agree more, mate. He'd easily be started as a 5'8" anyway and average about 60 plus. So I'm down. All right. good momentum here, gentlemen. I will move on to the mighty and of recent years improved front row position. So this is the last.
The big dogs.
Oh, Todzer, how good is it to see the big choppers finally offer us something in terms of league winning fight in SuperCoach? How good?
Yeah, it's fantastic, mate. How good is that?
So we will not muck around too much with the very tippy top of these rankings and say Payne Haas, we had him as your third overall player, fourth if you want to, something in that from yesterday. You can make an argument for one overall, and I think we all said that's not terrible either, particularly leagues that play captain, in which case he would be just you set and forget for an entire season, which is pretty juicy. Moving forward then, I've got him in this order, gentlemen, and I'm just happy. I want you to debate. I think these are the clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me, with an asterisk on the 6. You know what? I'm going to mention him, and I want to throw him out there. So, Haas, Terrell May, Fanua Blake, Kolomatangi, Tarpany, and my bonus 6th, who I think we're going to be a fan of this year, is Toby Couchman.
Ooh, my boy.
His dual eligibility. He showed plenty when he got minutes and is back in there. I'll start with you, Todd.
Yes.
Any change to that order from your end?
No, I haven't. Haas, May, Fanua Blake, Tarpany, Kolomatangi. I don't have Toby Couchman in the 6th, though, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think that top 5, I think that 3 through 5 is interchangeable. I think they're all going to be pretty close. I've got AFB to have a real big bounce back this year.
Me too.
Hopefully score a couple more tries and just look to be that absolute gun we saw at the Warriors the year before. So got him in the 3 there. Tarpany every year, mate, basically averages 70. And Kolomatangi, it's going to be interesting to see how the minutes play. I think a little bit worried about his minutes in terms of, I think Simo might have mentioned it yesterday, maybe just how it all works out there at South. So that's why I got him at the 5.
Okay. And yeah, I'm more bullish than both of you because I actually think because he's strictly playing middles now, I think he's not the rotation of Murray, etc. I'm not worried. I actually think it's independent of that with Moale going as well. They don't have many front rowers there. That was really why he got the minutes last year as well. I think that Wayne obviously wants to have a crack at a title this year and he'll do anything to get it as he really does. Touch wood, as Simo said, near-death experience coming up. Touch wood.
All right.
You heard it.
You were thinking it.
Touch wood. Shout out to you, Wayne. Hope you stay for as long as you like, mate. But I'm actually more bullish on Kolomatangi, and I have him closer to Fanua Blake and definitely ahead of Tarpany. I'll obviously add the round 26 again, not to bore everyone. Simo, you would have Colo any further down than 5th?
No. I think it's nearly impossible to move him too much further down.
Yeah, okay.
Even though I do have question marks, it's probably more just in terms of a value standpoint. But yeah, in terms of the actual ranks, that's a pretty clear top 6 there. As someone last year, I traded Tarpany for Fanua Blake, and it's funny that Tarpany was better in the long run. But I agree with the ranking because I think that we saw Tarpany slightly overperform, and maybe Fanua Blake have a bit of a stinker. So, I shouldn't say a stinker, but at least he wasn't at his best. So, I agree with Fanua Blake over Tarpany there. Couchman as well. I think that's a reasonable ranking as well because, obviously there's not a lot of forwards there at the Dragons. DeBellin's gone as well to free up a few minutes. So, I don't hate that either.
Yeah, I thought you might be a fan, mate. And it was really interesting ranking him against Carrigan. Now that Carrigan is back to his obviously better position that led Broncos to a title 13. Carrigan and Couchman are really similar to me this year, both really safe, but I'll just take the guys slightly more ascending talent versus the guys in his peak. So it's splitting hairs, to be perfectly frank with you.
I want to say, they've been so harsh on these duels, picking players where they think they're going to play. Are we all above board that Carrigan's fine as a duel here?
No, definitely not. They got this one wrong.
It just seems, why does he keep it? He's pretty much playing 13. It's just, it's fine if that's what they want to do, but they haven't done that with other positions.
Simo, him versus Tino annoys me big time.
Yeah.
Tino is more of a chance of playing in that front row this year than Patrick Carrigan is. I don't think it's even close. And they took it away from Tino. So,
yeah.
Anyway, good point, mate. But yeah, so I'll just read out the next few names, guys. And there's some juicy ones in here that all are getting pretty close to similar for me. So yeah, Carrigan. Todd, did you have him before Catchman? Is that what you?
Yeah, Carrigan at 6, Catchman 7.
Okay, yeah, I honestly, mate, I flipped a coin when I did him. I'm easy. Carrigan playing Origin maybe is where I just slightly made the tiebreaker, but good luck to you. Naf White, I did aggressively rank to keep up that position because I just think he's an absolute beast in a really good side this year. Jermaine Hopgood. Jack Williams, I'm really not sure of, depending on whether he gets a start or not. He could be one of those like mirages from last year. I'll maintain him with an asterisk going into the season. Lindsay Smith is your really good, solid guy. Mitch Barnett's back and will just be needed so badly in that team. So I like his return. Probably in round 2, I think I heard, Todza.
Yeah, he's pushing for round 1, but looks like round 2.
Big fan of that. Max King, as you know, he's your real solid, almost zero upside, except when you played me, so when he barged over and scared the shit out of me in our matchup last year. That was good fun.
Maxi King? No, that was... Maxi King. No. I know what you're talking about, but I did not own him.
Was it Maxi? Okay.
No, it was someone else, yeah.
Okay. The man that I helped me ride me to a couple of titles, Utuka Manu, boys, I've had to lift up the rankings. He finished like an absolute freight train.
Yeah.
I saw that Lomax, Para had boldly gone back to Storm and said, we want Utuka Manu. Like, Storm don't have any forwards, so that was pretty funny. Like, of course they're going to say no.
Good on him, mate. Good on Parramatta.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. What? Like, Coates, Utukamanu, and Howarth. One of those is not like the other, gentlemen.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Sorry for all the Storm fans out there, but just as a neutral here, like, I don't want to see Lomax just walk into the Storm and the Eels get nothing for it. Like, it would shoot me off massively. And I don't even support the Eels.
I completely agree with you, and I hope they get Coates out of it. That'd be kind of sick. At least they're getting an absolute stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, like, he has to want to go too. Like,
absolutely, mate. And Utukamanu, he already quit on the Tigers once. I don't know if that'd work anyway. So I had a little chuckle at that. But gentlemen, he's one that I thought of the names I said. The two that probably need discussed here. Jack Williams, great season last year, looked outstanding. Bit of concern about the minutes and the role, Toddy, into this year.
Yeah, a little bit, but like I had a little bit of concern last year too. Just thinking he might not get the minutes, but every time I thought he wasn't going to get the minutes, he was there or thereabouts. I think his PPM's crazy good,
bonkers,
and he has the ability to, if there's an injury happens, he can go play on the edge as well. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to bang on average about 60 to 63, and just be much of the same as last year. I think he's a really good first guy. If you take outside the top 10.
Yep. Okay. I like it. And yeah, Utukamanu, Simo, are you sipping the Kool-Aid based on how he finished last year after Origin, mate? Have you got him up there sort of 14 here?
It's funny. Like, I'm not really, I think he was batting overs, but even with that being said, it's hard to really rank him much lower because like, I think he's just in a spot where the fact that he's shown that upside, I think is enough to warrant where he should be. Like, he's just a guy that I guess that what that means is kind of me saying that he's a guy that I am sort of not keen on at value because I think that's sort of maybe more his ceiling than it was his floor. So, yeah, it's one of those ones. Like, I've got no issue with it.
Okay. And I probably should have mentioned, was I aggressive with Hopgood at 9 overall? Struggling to find out what's not to like about Hopgood, dual eligibility. I think he's firmly in that front row rotation now, and Jeezy looked good when he played there last year. I
don't mind it. There's guys like I prefer Barnett. I've got Lindsay Smith, Utukamanu, and Naf White all ranked ahead of him. That's just me.
Okay, and I've only got Naf out of that group with my aggressive 8th ranking for him. But yeah, no, that's fair, Todd. He's one I struggle with a little. Him and Jack Williams, I put together in the rankings. Whoever gets the bulk of the minutes there is going to be good.
Yeah, they're 12 and 13 for me, so they're pretty similar. Yeah.
Solid early options here, gentlemen. If you add Corey Horsburgh, who I've got here in rank 15 as well, who's also still dual, again, round 26. But when it comes to your number one front row anchor, like, you're getting down to about him where you're really happy with any of those options, right? I think they're all FRF ones, personally.
Yeah.
The only thing that Horsburgh lacks that, like I agree with the ranking of Utu Ikamanu over Horsburgh is because Horsburgh just doesn't quite have that not quite as much attack. He can sometimes find a little bit the big red, but just not to the same extreme of Utu Ikamanu.
Gentlemen, we've got our South Korean celebrity in the house tonight, Big Kiwi Nick. Hey, boys, long-time listener, first-time chatter. When is the mega hooker making an appearance, or is that Red's new nickname? Quality from you, Big Kiwi Nick. I can't afford one anymore, mate. So if you can help us out, that would be awesome. You've got a lot more followers than we do. So good stuff, mate.
Where's that toy shit you've got? Oh, here we go. There she is.
That's horrid.
It's awful, isn't it? It's absolutely awful. It sits in my office though, so just to remind me every day of what I really.
I bet it does. I can smell it through the microphone.
Fair, mate. And Big Kiwi Nick, Red is a known battler. Thank you.
That's very funny.
You like that?
One of the biggest battlers you've seen. Holy.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to mention some more names to you here.
Yeah.
A player that I have moved up my rankings to fall just outside that top 15 is Trey Mooney. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid hardcore. He jumps in just after Horsburgh for me, and I'm all about it. Todza, worth you and I mentioning, mate, because I know this is about where you'd have him, right?
Yeah, I literally have him at 16 behind Horsburgh. Absolute PPM machine when he gets the minutes. Looking at that squad there, there's going to be some big minutes for someone, and I think he's got every chance of being that guy. He's a real alpha, which you guys are lacking a lot, and I think he's going to be really good. If we can see him getting north of 45 minutes to 50, I'd be very, very happy. He's got a huge amount of upside.
I am all about that, mate. I think he's a player that people should be going after, and I think you get away with him as an FRF1 this season. He's not going to hurt you. He has a shot of at least hitting you close to that 55, 60 average will get you by. Simo?
Oh, look at you, Knights. Like, You've been wanting this moment for so long, Redford. Finally, a Raider to come back the other way. Company, Kasami Sulo. You have been waiting years for this, and you've gone way too deep into the deep end here. Like, ranking him above Leo Thompson is blasphemous.
Don't you start me on old Leap and Leo and him abandoning. You know, he was my boy last year, and I was all over it. He was a little ho-hum, to be fair, Simo. He is a bit more meat and potatoes than his appearance would have you believe. Like, he looks like he should have upside. He doesn't.
You've ranked him below Trey Mooney. What's Trey Mooney like? Oh, what's Trey Mooney done to deserve that?
PPM
just
is up
because he's
there.
wearing red and blue this year. That's all it is.
I mean, this is kind of fun for me. I don't think I've ever been accused of being a homer in any fantasy, but I'll take it. This year, I am sipping Knights Kool-Aid. I'm big on Dylan Brown. I mentioned Ponga. This is the year, mate. I'm going to have just a full team of Knights. It's on.
For the record, last year, Trey Mooney played 2 games with minutes above 43. In the 43-minute game, he scored a 89. And in the 55-minute game, he scored a 78. That was both with no tries.
There you go.
Interesting.
PPM beast.
Big dog.
For the record, I have Leo Thompson, literally my 17th guy.
Okay. Yeah, Leo's a decent one. I'm going to mention, gentlemen, because the rankings are so deep, I'm going to mention a whole heap of names here in the order I've got them. You just tell me if one stands out to you as either, what the hell is he doing there? Or if you are a particular fan for some reason. Yeah, Big Dursto says, Big Redford high on Big Justin Holbrook. Yes, because he is a previous, mate. I didn't hate Holbrook at the Titans, mate, so I'm okay with this. This is going well. And as long as he rolls out with that Brown at 6, then I'll be a big fan to start. All right.
It's not Adam O'Brien, so you can't argue. Beggars can't be choosers.
There I didn't even want to mention the name, Simo. I want to be so done with that chapter. It's not funny. All right.
I'll remind you a lot. Don't you worry.
Thanks, mate.
You think you're done with it. You are not done with it.
Good fella. All right. Running through these names. So I've got Junior Barlow, IPAP, Griffin Neem. I've got aggressively ranked because I think he is going to have a shit ton of minutes in a Cowboys pack that just has nobody. If Ruben Cotter plays 13, well, there's no one. They don't have forwards anymore. So Griffin Neame, I like the cut of his jib. Daniel Saifidi, James Fisher-Harris, Jackson Ford, Leo Thompson. I put Flegler there. It's wishful more than anything. It's probably too high, but I know the talent's there for SuperCoach, and they don't have that many forwards anymore. The Dolphins need forwards.
Yeah, we got rid of Josh Kerr. Crazy.
Yeah, he was good off the bench last year. Unbelievable.
Jeez, he'll go to the Dragons and be so dog shit.
He will.
There's no way he goes to the Dragons.
Mate, he was balling people.
Oh, yeah, for all 16 minutes he played. Get out of here. He's so crap.
Mo Fott, Jamin Jolliffe, Jack DeBellin, Paseka, Jai Arrow, Colquhoun. Interesting one to rank, gentlemen. So, Simon, Colquhoun, obviously there's been reports Warrior McGuinness is going to come back in round 1 somehow. No,
he won't. No.
Half a season or full season out. Do you like Colquhoun? Am I a bit too low on him, do you think?
Yeah, I think you're maybe a little bit too low, but I don't think you're egregiously off here. He'll be one of those guys, Colquhoun, that he might start okay before McGuinness does come back, but I hate having guys like that you know that there's a time period on them. Especially if you get it right and he looks really good for 6 weeks and then McInnes is back to full fitness and is back in his spot, then Colquhoun just reverts back to what we've seen as just a bench guy. I think there's a lot there for Colquhoun for a career. Obviously, he's re-signed at the Sharks, so they want to keep him there and he'll be good long term, but I think where you got him is enough of a risk where you could go either way on it. There was a name there that you said. I just need to double check that list there. There was someone there I thought was quite interesting.
JDB?
It was Jamin Jolliffe again, actually.
Oh,
yes. It's been a rice.
Yeah, I think it's become pretty clear now that he's preferred over Fodawaker.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, I guess Henne's come in, new coach. It could all fall to heap. So, just one of those ones that if Jolliffe has overtaken them in the pecking order and over there, they'd just go with that. But not a big sell.
No, got them side by side. I'm with you, Simo. I've been a Jolliffe fan for a while. He's very SuperCoach friendly game for a front rower. JDB, Todds, I've really struggled with this one because historically he can get to a 60. New club, yes, he's at the back end of his career, but he's not reliant on speed or anything.
No, he's not. He's going to play up the middle. I sort of have him a bit of what he was doing last year too. I don't really have him too aggressively high. I have him around that Flegler. You got Xavier Wilson around there, that big Papa range with guys that are really good twos, really good twos, really solid. And they're not going to hurt you. Like JDB, I don't think he's going to hurt you. Like his floor's going to be like a 40, 45, and then his big game's going to be closer to 60. But not a guy I want to chuck into that top 20. Anyways, I love the shout on Jolliffe. One I'm looking at is obviously coming back from the big injury is Taniela Paseka.
Yeah.
We've seen when he gets minutes above 55, he can really put out a score. So he's one of those deeper ones that could be a really good second for you as well. JDB, it's gonna be interesting to see what that kind of works out and how it even affects Jack Williams too. So that could be a reason to fade Jack Williams a little bit more. But interesting one there with JDB.
That was definitely the fear. So I was thinking as you were responding, mate, and I agree with you. I think the Williams JDB is the worry that they could cannibalize those two. Whereas I think Hopgood's safe out of that rotation for mine. So I'm just a bit of concern.
I'm going to come out and say I think that Williams is safe as well. I think he'll play an edge. I reckon JDB, I'm not feeling it, to be honest. He's the one I'm going to. I've had to put money where my mouth is. I'd say JDB. Not irrelevant, but like in terms of what we're looking for, he's not the answer. I think we're Hopgood and Junior Barlow, and then be happy with Williams as a second rower, eligible at front row.
Well, I think the challenge for me is, pardon me, all the injuries to the back row for the Eels make it really tough to know who's going to start, right? So my boy Kelmer, I can't believe I'm saying my boy Kelmer, but Kelmer.
He's your boy, right? Holy.
Katunga, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Katunga?
Katonga.
Katonga, he looked fantastic before the injury last year. So, I feel he's got to be somewhere. You've got then, Jack Williams on an edge. Do you think he outlasts? I'd love to say Kelmer, but Kelmer kept coming back in last year, Simo.
Yeah, Kelmer's your boy, but you know who's Jason Rolls' boy? Jack Williams.
Who? Yeah, okay.
And he's new. He was one of his first signings, and he's brought him across and has killed it. So yeah, Rolls is all about him. I'm pretty happy with Jack Williams still. I think he's pretty safe.
Okay, so look, if Kelmer's the odd one out there, because I think Katonga showed plenty, right? It'd be awesome to have him and Williams on an edge. That I think would be best of every one SuperCoach, right?
What I learnt the hard way last year as a Hopgood drafter is that
I was an owner too.
Yeah, and you copped this as well when you traded for him. I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
And I picked him up when he went to FRF, and he was fantastic.
Yes, but anyone that drafted Hopgood learnt the hard way that Rolls preferred Jack Williams. That's what made Hopgood so shit. Williams was starting in the front row and getting massive minutes. I would be shocked if Kelma Tuolangi was to take anything off Jack Williams. It's a different stratosphere because I wouldn't even say Hopgood's 100% safe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, the run home. The reason, Simo, you're right. I think he's probably not 100. My confidence is just that run Para had back last year when he really did look fantastic in the front row. I'm just going to go with that.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm just saying that, I don't think that they'll revert back to that. I think they've settled on a very good team now. Hopgood being playing as a middle with big minutes with Barlow and JDB. That's a good middle with you've got the luxury to play Jack Williams on an edge, and it's worked out great for them.
I don't think Para will be as bad as last year, even that bad.
That's the
has to stay fit. Big forward back, very good forward back.
Yeah, the forward pack emerged, and with the edge looking a lot better than your Sean Lane. Lane was in there at one point.
They got Brian Kelly now too, so
hello.
He'll be good for 50 season.
It's an all right signing. He'll just offload to Addo Carr all day.
Yeah, true.
Can offload. He's a very generous centre. We'll give him that to both teams.
That's true.
Valmonga, is there any hope here for enough minutes at some point, or does he need an injury to happen, Todza?
Nah, not with Barney back. Barney can get quite a few minutes back. Barney didn't play at all last year for a while. And Valmonga obviously one for the future, but look, I don't see him getting 40 plus.
Yep. Okay, just a few other names, gentlemen. We're not going to spend too long on the back end of these rankings because it does get very hard to differentiate. But we're just going to run through any options we think could be something. So, Joshy Curran from the bench, you just love it how every real-life NRL coach doesn't like him. If he ends up on the bench at the Adder at the Bears, just go to the Super League, fella. Honestly.
Oh, mate, there's no way he plays on the bench for the Bears. Holy.
He is going to be finally universally owned. I just hope he has hit the jewel by the time he gets there, right? That's what we're hoping for. I had to think about that. All right, so Willison, you mentioned Todd's injury away from being really obviously someone will be a hot waiver pickup at some point and through Origin. Hopwood, if he does get minutes at Knights, again, we don't really have anyone else, especially if we're relying on Jay Safe.
Is that someone at Knights? That's crazy.
Yeah, no, great. No, this is awesome. Honestly, I've never been called a homer, ever. Francis Molo, again, Dolphins. If Flegler doesn't come back all the way, probably will be an FRF2. Again, let's not spend too long on this. Then the other names of interest, I really like Sione Fainu, but I just think minutes are going to be hard to lock in. He'd need some injuries. Tommy Hazleton, get on him first try scorer. Can get over. Does Davey Miley just suddenly become a stud now because he's gone to the Storm? Is it one of these?
I'd hope so. And they got no forwards though, mate. He could easily come off the bench and play anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes and actually be decent.
What happened there? Because I swear I saw David Moale went to the Eagles. I saw that.
Don't know.
I saw that posted somewhere. I'm pretty sure I screenshotted it in the group chat as well. I was like,
really?
Oh, it's a good get for Manly. And then a few weeks later, Oh, guess what? Storm's got him.
Yeah, no good. Just again, a late one here, gentlemen. Tyson Frizzell might find his way back to 60 minutes in 13 this year. And I was looking at the Knights team. And again, with no forwards there, he's been annoyingly useful. You may think he's 45. He's actually only just hit 30, I think we worked out the other day.
34.
Is he that old?
Yeah.
He definitely is.
About? Mate, he played with Wally Lewis, seriously.
Is he definitely? No, we've done this every year. Is he finally actually 34?
I'm going to look it up, mate. Honestly, Tyson
check.
Frizzell is old as hell.
Please check. If he's like about 30, then I reckon he'll end up being sneaky star.
No, he's born in 91. He's 34.
34. Okay, no, he is actually finally old enough that we don't have to consider him. There you go.
He's been old in the tooth for the last 4 years.
Finally. That's pretty much it. Fanua Pole flirted with being useful, but just didn't get there, and that's really it for me. Any last salvos here from you, Todd? Anyone lower down the list? Your Liam Henry types? Any chance?
Nah, I don't think so. I love a bit of Liam Henry. I think he's a good signing for the Bears, but just don't think there's going to be those kind of minutes there with Leota and Lindsay Smith. Lindsay Smith plays too many minutes.
Yeah, he does. Big Papa actually was relevant again last year as an FRF2. Keep on going, son. Keep on scoring those tries. We love you.
Hopefully his son keeps making content. He's hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Big Papa's – you've not seen him. He just rips into his old man the whole time. It's fantastic.
You've got the – yeah, that's like what is it? My lobster's too lobstery. My toast is too buttery. Like, pretty decent father to have learned from. Good stuff. Yeah. Simon, any late salvos from you here, mate? Anyone that we've not mentioned that you think needs to be considered?
I think that's sort of the crux of the front row position. There's just those, like, I think the fact that you even brought up Griffin Neem already, like, we've sort of touched on those teams that we think might not be super good, at least through the middle, namely Newcastle and the Cowboys. And there's probably not a lot there that really puts their hand up. So I like the fact that you touched on Mooney as well in that regard. So, yeah, there's not really anyone further down that I would really recommend as like a massive smoky.
Okay. Thank you, mate. Thank you, gentlemen. So pretty exciting position this year. And I think just in terms of strategy, gentlemen, I am definitely of the belief now that because of how good the very top end is, I would want to lock in one of those top 16 players, if you want to include Trey Mooney and the hype that it's been given, just for you, Simo.
Oh, you can't even
top 16. I love how just because of Trey Mooney, we're doing top 16s. That's crazy. Don't worry about top 20, but the top 16.
That was just no, but I think there's a teardrop, Todd. So, like, being more honest, I think like when you get down to Uto on my list at 14, and if you think Horsburgh belongs there, I would be ponying up for one of those top 15, gentlemen, because I think the gap between them and potentially those below, you could be giving up too many points to one position, and you also won't have upside, whereas those other guys are going to have upside plus the floor. I don't normally prioritize front row. I don't mind getting an FRF1 this year of note. Tolza?
Yeah, look, I did it last year with FRF1. It made my team I just felt like my team was super solid across the board. Just I wasn't have to worry about had a guy like, your D-Cypher or whoever it is, then have that guy then having to find a scramble on waivers to find that number 2. I was pretty happy with having a 1 and just being comfortable just picking up whatever guy. Yeah. I do like that top 15 that we had there. So, yeah, I'm with you there. I think there is some really good options for ones, the Couchmans, the Lindsay Smiths, the Naf White could go bonkers, So I think there's some really good options there as a 1, and I'd be looking to pick up a 1 as well.
Yep, nice. Simo, change in strategy from previous, mate. I know Tino did wonders for me in the FRF1 slot last year. I could just do exactly what Toddy's strategy was. Mate, are you sipping the Kool-Aid the FRF this year?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to, probably this year more than most years, is whether or not your league allows AEs or not. Because, our sort of general way of thinking here is like in our league, I mean, we're a very special league. We've got quite intricate rules about when AEs count and when they don't. But generally speaking, like for the listeners' sake, we're not an AE league really. So, like, we can't, like, let's say, for example, like, we can't deliberately start someone who's going to score 0 in your front row 2 and get, like, a guy off your bench score. It can happen, but we've got rules around that. They need to be named on Tuesday and stuff like that. So, I feel like if you're a league like us where you don't necessarily have an AE very often, where you'd need to start 2 front rowers, now I probably would pony up and get a big dog, at least in your FRF1 slot. If you've got the luxury of AEing the position and just basically punting on front row 2, I don't hate it. But, like, I don't hate not necessarily going hard for them. But I sort of feel like, front rows maybe changed a little bit, like you said, Chris, with those high-end guys having that little bit more upside. You definitely want to have one because good luck trying to catch the Terrell May, Payne Haas, Clonmatungi sort of guys when you're starting Max King. Like, there is a drop-off that way. So, yeah, just think about that.
Even in that example, though, Simo, at least, like, the 60 that he often gets, at least it's not 45, and at least, like, I guess maybe King's...
I should have said Max King and, Jai Arrow or someone who's like a bona fide number 2. Sorry, I should have.
I hear. I just, sorry, mate, I think we're in agreement there, which is a rare thing, but it's maybe step up where previously you probably just loaded up on your 2RF and your upside guys there. Little sneak preview, gentlemen. I think 2RF is one of the weakest spots this year, probably the weakest it's been. That's not to say there aren't options and it's not deep, because it definitely is. But I think it's lacking the clear standouts that we've had in previous years. Your Corey Parkers and your Paul Gallons and the like, they're nowhere to be seen these days. There's guys here. The guy on the top of my list as a sneak preview is, in fact, someone who only averaged in the low 60s last year. So that kind of paints a bit of a picture. So I think, go get your high-end FRF. I am not against the Payne Haas 1 overall. That's how strongly I feel about it. I think he has enough. Right, so when we had that chat yesterday, I don't mind it, and I don't mind grabbing your halfback or your fullback in rounds.
What I will ask you then, Chris, I'll ask you this: now that we've done the halfback rankings today, and we've argued over a lot of players, and we had an extensive discussion about Tom Did, and we're talking like halfback 9, 10, 11, or 12. I think for you it was 12. Was it 12 for you?
I think I just 11. 11.
I mean, 11th. We all agree that it's super deep as it's ever been. Mm-hmm. Does it make you think about taking Haas over Cleary?
Yeah, it does.
Like, seriously? Like, I know we said
it does.
But does it seriously?
It seriously does when you also factor in Cleary's horrible injury record. That is where I'd like to ask him specifically. I still probably like where you boys are at in regards to Reece Walsh and probably Teddy, to be honest. I still think that they win you weeks so often. Cleary with injury record worries me, and I think Haas gives you the floor upside combo that we've never really had before at FRF. And if Terrell May drops off and AFB doesn't push back forward, if Colo does drop down a little bit, Simo, you could also be getting the guy who does all that but also gaps the rest of them. That is very possible.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah. I would not begrudge anyone for taking him 1 overall, because I think you can make the team work.
Well, yeah, we laid it out yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, you can get good value. You can get good half. Like Jerome Hughes could easily be a back end of round 2 pick, easily.
Yeah, he could be.
Because like when we had Sam, not me personally, but our consensus had Walker over Hughes, so it's not a crazy thing to think of you doing a Haas, Hughes, Dylan Edwards start or something like that.
Haas, Hughes, or Walker, right, in round 2, followed up by any of the Trey Fuller, Yongi, Falongo, Bula, if you're a believer in any of them.
Poison, whoever you think it is, yeah.
Sign me up. That's a chance of winning a league with that team. All right, gentlemen, just to round out the potty tonight. So, fantastic responses, listeners, to the opportunity to join the Listener League. I'll be going through those and checking them off, and essentially from here it's making sure we've got people who can attend a draft day. But thank you to the response. Keep them coming if you're still watching this far in, because not everyone's guaranteed to be able to make a draft day. The other thing we said we'd round out to do, gentlemen, the obvious one of the day, Fletcher Sharp's got to come out of that top 20, the top 2 rounds that we did from yesterday. Sad moment there. Gentlemen, just for the listeners and anyone who may be drafting very shortly, who can we slot in based on the, maybe it's a position we've already done. Who would sneak in? We'll move everyone up. Just put someone in slot 20 for us. I'll give you some quick options. Blake Brayley. Yeah, I think he's pretty damn close. If it's not Brayley, you could make an argument. So Fanua, Blake, Colin Matangi. Actually, we had Colin Matangi 20, didn't we? So he's up to 19. Pretty sure that's what we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So Brayley, Tino. Gus, if you're a fan. I've got Gus over Tino myself this year. So I'd probably have Brayley ahead of those two just on scarcity. Dylan Brown, I will just bring him up if he's dual. I'm not saying I would, but I've just got to put him in the mix. We had Marky Mark in there. Val Holmes. Todzer was a shout from you, mate. He's very close then, I think. They're the options. Simo, your
Tino for me.
My boy.
Todzer?
Yeah, Tino.
I'm happy with that. Yeah. I think that's good. Put Tino in there. First 2RF off the board. All good. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much for this evening. Mr. Simo, good from you.
Thanks, mates. It's a pleasure as always. A lot going on in the landscape. So, good to chat about it.
Fantastic. Todd Meow, thank you very much, sir.
No, you're welcome, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Never a chore. Loved every moment of it. I've always wanted to say that. Got it in. You beauty.
Is it a bit late for you, Dal?
Mate, it is well past Daddy's bedtime.
Okay, mate. All right, listeners, thank you for tuning in for podcast number 2. Stay tuned for the 2RF and CTW combo. We'll also, of course, have some of our bold predictions and talk a bit more strategy as well. So we probably, I reckon, gentlemen, have 2 more preseason potties in us based on that, most likely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. We'll see how we go. At least one. Yeah, we'll see with the second one.
All right. Listeners, as always, get that BDE India. Oh, yeah.